one of them sucking. A short one. All right, let's show everybody how
Atta
good
boy,
you
champ.
suck.
Look at you go. Look at you go.
So to go from, having a newborn that has experienced a severe brain injury, you're left with a huge question mark. What is his future? What's he going to be able to do? Is he going to be able to talk? Is he going to be able to walk? Is he going to be able to tell me if he needs something? Are we going to, is he going to be in a wheelchair? If he's going to be in a wheelchair, do we get a van? Do we have to move to a house, that's wheelchair accessible? All these crazy things start running through your head that you're just, for me, I focus so much on the future.
So after Nash was born, right after the C-section, they take him to an observation table. And his color was off. You could kind of notice there was something off with his color. And so right away they sent him to the NICU just for overnight monitoring. And we were kind of told, that it's just overnight monitoring, that everything should be fine, and we get to see our baby in the morning. And they told us, call down to the NICU at 5 o'clock, but get your rest, because you're going to be full-time parents come morning sort of thing.
Hey, champ.
We went down there and we kind of got updated. And so I guess what had happened was he had had some episodes of apnea in the night, and he had some what they thought looked like seizures. So then they scheduled an MRI, and that wasn't going to happen for another 4 days or 5 days or so. So yeah, things kind of started to snowball in a bad way after the morning after he was born.
So Nash's prognosis wasn't good. They told him he had global brain damage, and that the damage had significantly affected all areas of the brain. Some of the questions we had, especially with Allie's background, we knew not to ask him because they couldn't really have an answer. Of course we want to know, is he going to walk? Is he going to talk? Is he going to be able to have an emotional connection with us? Of course, those are things that maybe up until that point we had taken for granted. But as parents, you're going to want those things. So.
Yeah, so the conversation leaving the hospital, we were like, so what do we do now? And our advice was, we'll get you hooked up with a contact for some physio, occupational therapy, things that he might need. But until we know that, you're just going to have to go home and watch and wait for missed milestones. So start to, pay a little bit more attention to what he's doing developmentally, and if he starts missing milestones, let's get him in for therapy. So that happened the way that they had expected. Not reaching, not grabbing, fine motor stuff, not rolling. That was the big one, rolling and grabbing. So we got him in at about 4 months.
And it was at 4 months that we started with physio. And he started OT and PT. And, at first, for me and Allie as parents, it was really comforting to do. It really felt like we were being involved meaningfully in Nash's development. And it was something that we can materialize and do for Nash.
It was actually our pediatrician who had told us about the Anat Baniel Method and had said that she had seen changes in kids that were unexplainable.
Swing them up. Swing them up. That's right.
We did physio for a year, and it was probably later in the year of that physio, so Nash would have been almost a year and a half, so maybe about a year when he was in that sitting position. But it was about a year and a half that we started to make the move towards ABM, and started to notice significant change.
So we laid Nash on his back, and I think he had 2 lessons with Dan. That's all we could get in for a couple months. 2 lessons with Dan, and laid him on his back to play, and within 2 weeks, he pushed himself up into sitting. And it was shocking to see it, because here is this little guy who could only sit, was super tense, you know, tight arms, wouldn't let you take your eyes off of him because he was stuck. He couldn't move, he couldn't play independently. He was scared, now we know. And, you know, within 2 weeks of just leaving him alone and letting his brain figure out a way to do it his way, he was pushing into sitting, and it was crazy.
I remember I was playing with him in the living room, and one of the things with ABM is you never want to steal their attention. So I remember we were playing, doing whatever it did, ball rolled away, and he sat up and reached for it. And I was just like blown away. But because of what I knew with ABM, I let him have his moment and didn't praise him, didn't have him focus on me. I wasn't telling him good job or anything. I let him have his moment. And you could kind of tell it was a pretty powerful moment for him, because he was like, bam, wow, I'm sitting up. And then, you know, left it alone. I didn't force him to do that. And then within an hour, all of a sudden he did it again and again and again and again. And then he was sitting up from both sides. It was pretty special. It was pretty neat to see.
So we first took Nash down to San Rafael to the ABM Center in August of 2014. And we spent a week there, and it was awesome. He had an intensive week of lessons, and he started like talking more. That was what we noticed first, was the language. That's the thing that's so interesting and amazing about ABM, is that it doesn't focus on one task or one area or a goal. They try to provide the brain with all this new information, and by upgrading the brain, it upgrades everything. I mean, every fine motor, gross motor, language, emotional, all these things we could start to see changing, and language was one of the first. He started saying like 5 words like within the week after we got back, which were his first words. I think right before we left, he had started to say hi, and that was all he had. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was very, it was just nice to meet the practitioners down there, have him experience the variation of the different people, and it was just, it gave us a lot of hope.
What we thought is that we needed to challenge Nash more. And I remember I even said that to Anat. I'm like, yeah, I'm starting to get it, Anat. We need to challenge Nash more. And she's like, no, Wyatt, you need to challenge yourselves more. And I think that was something that really resonates in me, because it was more so we need to be providing the environment for Nash. We don't need to do anything. There's nothing wrong with Nash. Nash is an intelligent boy. It's more so we need to provide him the environment that's going to help him succeed.
You want to stomp your foot? That's right. That's right. Very nice. Oh, he's doing, it's much clearer today from yesterday.
Yeah, so Nash started walking just a few weeks ago, September 1st. He took his first steps, and it was mind-blowing for me to see, because it was something that I never knew if I would ever see it. I wouldn't really let myself go there emotionally to expect that, because I was trying to protect myself. So, you know, I just, in my head, I would not let myself even go there, but he did it. The craziest part is that I knew that whenever we had another child, that child would walk before Nash. And Deacon is not walking, and Nash is. And Nash started walking before his 3rd birthday, which I can't even believe that he wasn't even 3, because you are constantly associating numbers with milestones, and will he walk when he's 5, or will he walk when he's 7? And he started walking when he was 2.
But I think when you look at him now, I don't think anybody would have thought he was done so well at such a young age. Allie had just had an appointment with our pediatrician. Our pediatrician was in tears. Allie hadn't said anything. Nash in her office pulled himself up to standing and was walking about, playing around, and the pediatrician was just blown away. Everything Nash has done up until this point gives me no reason to ever stop thinking that way. Just to believe in the most and expect the most out of Nash. He's a champ.
And I'm much more hopeful ever since finding the ABM method. It's after I read Anat's book, it was the first time I've ever been hopeful and ever thought that he could reach so many more things than I expected. But that being said, like, he's still gonna face challenges and he's got a long way to go, and yes, he's walking, but that's not like the end of his story.